Not everyone will understand this message, because not everyone was built to. But if you felt a deep stirring within a shift that others can't see, then this video found you for a reason. The world is changing, and only 1% can handle what's coming. Are you one of them? From the moment the winds began to shift, something within you stirred. Not everyone could feel it, but you could. A quiet, vibrating knowing that reality, at least the version we've been shown, was beginning to tear at the seams. It wasn't obvious to the masses. The clock still ticked. The sun still rose. People still scrolled endlessly through distraction. But you sensed it, a growing tension behind the veil, a deeper frequency calling out to those who could hear it. And if you're here right now, you're not just one of the many, you're one of the few, because only 1% will feel this shift, and fewer still will be able to handle what's coming. This isn't fear-mongering. This is awareness, a sacred preparation for what your soul already knows. You've likely seen the signs, subtle, persistent, undeniable, repeating patterns, ruptured illusions, familiar structures suddenly crumbling under their own weight. You felt distant from others because they can't see what you see. But you're not alone, and you were never meant to walk blindly into what's next. Stay with us until the very end of this message. Let the words align with what you already carry deep within. And if this resonates, share your energy with us in the comments. Type your most heartfelt wish and the number 777. Not for superstition, but to align your intention with universal force. Wishes are real, but they are activated by those who remember they are more than just observers. They are co-creators. This is your moment to declare. You probably noticed it first in your body. A sudden fatigue not caused by lack of sleep, or moments of electric clarity that come without warning. Your dreams have shifted. Your relationships have shifted. Even time itself feels unstable, like something underneath it is unraveling. That's not imagination. That's awareness. What you're feeling is the edge of transformation. You are standing in the eye of a spiritual storm that has been building for generations. A recalibration of truth, energy, and alignment. And only the prepared, only the aware will walk through intact. This isn't about survival in the physical sense. It's about spiritual endurance, emotional resilience, energetic clarity. Because what's coming isn't just a collapse of outdated systems. It's a revelation of self, of purpose, of reality itself. For those stuck in illusion, it will feel like chaos. For those who have prepared, it will feel like remembering. And for you, the one who has always felt different, this is why you've endured what you have, why you were broken open so early, why life seemed to press down on you harder than others. It was shaping you, preparing you for this exact time. The reason only 1% can handle what's coming is because most have been conditioned not to feel, not to question, not to awaken. They've been taught to trade sovereignty for comfort, intuition for opinion, truth for programming. They live in cycles of distraction, scrolling, consuming, comparing, never pausing long enough to hear their own soul whisper. But you did. You paused. You questioned. You broke. And through that breaking, you began to see. You began to notice how so much of life is performance. How society celebrates masks but punishes authenticity. How truth is buried under noise. How the loudest voices often say the least. You saw it all, and that made you both a target and a light. Because people fear what they don't understand, and they don't understand you. But that's because you weren't meant to be understood by them. You weren't born to fit into a broken system. You were born to help dismantle it. That dismantling begins within. It begins with deconstructing every false belief you've carried, every label you've accepted, every lie you believed about yourself. You weren't too much. You weren't too sensitive. You weren't broken. You were simply tuned to a frequency others couldn't hear. And now, as the world begins to crack, that frequency is becoming louder. It's rising in your chest. It's guiding your steps. It's reminding you that the time you were preparing for has finally arrived. You see, the shift isn't coming. It's already begun. It's in the discomfort, the dissonance, the way everything familiar feels just a little bit hollow now. You're not imagining that. It's the peeling away of illusion. It's the revealing of what's always been there, but hidden behind centuries of distraction. And what you're being called to do now is this: remain awake, stay grounded, and most of all, remember who you were before they told you who to be. Remember the child who spoke to stars and trusted silence. Remember the visions you had before you were taught to dismiss them. Those weren't fantasies. They were fragments of your mission, echoes of your origin, previews of what's possible. You are not here to survive this shift. You are here to embody it, to lead within it, to rise because of it. That will not be easy. The world around you may mock your clarity. Your light may trigger their shadows. Your peace may seem threatening to those who thrive on chaos. But you must not shrink. Not now, because the shift needs your presence. Not your perfection, not your performance, but your presence, your awareness, your stillness. You are the lighthouse others will look for when their world starts to shake. But first, you must anchor your own light. Anchoring your light doesn't mean denying the storm. It means standing in it, rooted, unmoved, aware that the chaos is not the end, but the beginning. That discomfort is not destruction, but delivery. You are being delivered into the next version of yourself. And the labor is spiritual. The birth is energetic. That's why your soul feels like it's stretching. It is. There will be moments where you feel like breaking again. Let them come. Not all breaking is bad. Sometimes things must shatter to reveal the sacred. Sometimes we have to lose what we thought we needed in order to receive what we truly are. And in this shift, you will lose things. People, beliefs, old versions of yourself. Let them go. Mourn them if you must. But do not cling, because the next chapter cannot begin until the old pages are turned. And when doubt creeps in, as it will, return to your breath, to your body, to the stillness beneath the noise. Remember that not everyone will walk with you, and that's okay. This path isn't meant for everyone. It's meant for the 1%, the seers, the healers, the warriors of light, the ones who can feel what's coming and still choose to stay awake. You are not alone. We see you, we stand with you, and we're only just beginning. There's a reason why your soul feels like it's been walking through fire lately, why everything familiar seems distant, and why your inner world feels louder than ever. The shift isn't just happening around you, it's happening through you. And the reason only 1% can handle what's coming is because only 1% are willing to let the old parts of themselves fall away to make room for the truth. Truth is a powerful thing. It doesn't arrive quietly. It shakes the walls. It rips off masks. It reveals what we've long ignored. For most, that's terrifying. It's much easier to cling to comfort, to routines, to the illusion of stability. But for you, comfort was never the goal. It never fit right anyway. That's because your soul chose growth, expansion, and that requires friction. It requires moments that crack your illusions wide open so the light can finally enter. Look at your life. How many moments have felt like endings, only to become the beginning of something greater? How many losses disguise themselves as redirections? You didn't stumble here by accident. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every collapse was a divine recalibration. Each one stripped away what you thought you needed, so you could discover what you really are. And what you are is limitless. But here's the catch. The more you expand, the more resistance you'll feel. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're moving beyond the frequency of what once was. Old beliefs will surface. Shadows will scream. Doubt will whisper. But none of it is stronger than your knowing. That deep, grounded knowing that you're walking towards something sacred. Something real. Something that can't be seen with the eyes, but felt with the soul. This is where the 99% will turn back. They'll call it too much, too intense, too unknown. They'll cling to distractions, to the false safety of the surface. But not you. You were built for the depths. You were made to hold the weight of awakening, to swim through the dark and come out brighter. You didn't come to skim the surface. You came to shift the tide. And yes, it's lonely at times. Enlightenment has always been a solitary road. That's why ancient texts speak in riddles and symbols, because truth isn't meant to be spoon-fed. It's meant to be remembered, unearthed within. So when others don't understand your path, don't judge them. Just know it's not their time yet, but it is yours. You'll know the shift is deepening when you start shedding more than you're adding. When your peace becomes more important than approval. When solitude feels more nourishing than empty company. When silence becomes a teacher, not a void. These aren't signs of losing yourself. They're signs you're finally becoming who you were always meant to be. And in that becoming, something extraordinary happens. You start attracting experiences, the people, the opportunities that match your truth, not your wounds. The frequency shift within you reshapes what exists around you. Reality begins to respond to the clarity you've cultivated. What once drained you now repels you. What once frightened you now fuels you. You no longer seek to escape, you seek to embody. You begin to understand that the chaos wasn't here to destroy you. It was here to prepare you, to strengthen your spirit, to soften your ego, to clear the path. Every breakdown was a sacred initiation. Every moment you thought you were failing, you were actually forging resilience, forging clarity, forging the ability to stand tall in a world that keeps begging you to kneel. This world needs your light, not a flicker, not a half-hearted glow, but a full, blazing reminder of what's possible. Your clarity, your courage, your voice, it creates ripples. And even if no one claps for you, even if no one sees the battles you fight in silence, the universe does, and it moves in response. Every act of truth sends a signal. Every moment you choose alignment over approval shifts the collective grid. You're not small. You're not powerless. You're a living transmission. But even transmissions need rest. Honor that. The shift isn't a sprint. It's a spiral. Some days you'll feel on fire, clear and unstoppable. Other days you'll feel cracked, open and raw. Both are sacred. Both are necessary. Don't force consistency. Embrace authenticity. Let your process be real. That's where the true power lives. And as you walk this path, remember, clarity is magnetic. The more honest you are with yourself, the more aligned everything becomes. Your yes will become stronger. Your no will become sacred. You won't chase, you'll attract. You won't perform, you'll embody. You won't fear the unknown. You'll lead others through it. Because you're not just here to witness the shift. You're here to anchor it, to hold the line when others falter, to remind the world that peace is possible. That truth is still alive. That awakening is not a myth. It's a memory, one we all carry, but only a few are ready to reclaim. And you, beloved soul, are one of the few. You've likely started to feel the rumble beneath the surface. It's not physical, at least not yet. It's something you feel in your bones, a vibration, a pull, a shift that defies explanation. And while others go about their days, eyes glued to screens, hearts numbed by routine, you become increasingly sensitive to what most can't see. You're not imagining things. The shift is real, and only a small percentage, those wired to feel it, are being stirred from within. You are among that 1%, not by coincidence, but by cosmic design. The world you see is not the world that is. Beneath the surface, there's a recalibration happening, a spiritual rewiring of frequency, identity, and purpose. What once brought comfort now feels stale. What once distracted now feels hollow. And in place of old desires, new callings emerge, quiet but insistent. These are not just whims or passing thoughts. They're awakenings, echoes of a deeper memory returning to you. Piece by piece, dream by dream, moment by moment. You're not just evolving. You're remembering the version of you that was always destined to emerge. As this energy intensifies, your body may respond. Fatigue, restlessness, bursts of inspiration followed by deep silence. The push and pull is not dysfunction, it's initiation. Your system is shedding what no longer aligns. And with that shedding comes grief, even when you know it's for the best. You may mourn friendships that drift, ambitions that no longer ignite you, versions of yourself you've outgrown. That mourning is sacred. It makes space for the truth of who you're becoming. Not just someone new, but someone ancient waking up within you. Those around you may not understand. They may tell you you're overthinking, being dramatic, or chasing illusions. But you've heard the call, even if they haven't. You've seen the signs, the numbers, the dreams, the coincidences that echo too precisely. You've felt the energy in a room before anyone spoke. You've known things without knowing why. That inner knowing isn't madness. It's clarity. It's the gift that sets you apart. And it's why the path ahead, while narrow, is also holy. This shift isn't about escaping reality. It's about remembering the truth hidden beneath it. You've been prepared for this. Every trial, every betrayal, every lonely night served as training, not punishment, preparation. You've learned how to stand alone, how to listen deeper, how to move when the soul says move. While others are still chasing comfort, you've learned that true power lies in surrender, that healing doesn't always feel like light. It often begins in the darkness. And now, that darkness is lifting. This is a part of the story where the chosen rise, not because they're perfect, but because they've endured, not because they have all the answers, but because they've asked the right questions. And in asking, they've opened doorways within themselves that no one else can access, doorways that lead to purpose, clarity, and remembrance. You are not here to repeat the past. You are here to interrupt it, to bring a different tone to a tired world, to anchor light where it's been forgotten. That is no small task, and not everyone can handle the weight of it. But you've already been carrying the weight for lifetimes. This is simply the moment you begin to use it, not to crush, but to create, not to prove, but to remember. And what you're remembering is this: only 1% can feel this shift, because only 1% were encoded to guide it. You are one of them. There comes a moment in the journey when everything begins to rearrange itself, not on the outside, but from within. Your identity loosens. The narratives you've carried for years begin to dissolve. You no longer define yourself by your wounds, your failures, or even your past roles. The version of you that the world once knew becomes a shell you begin to outgrow. And while that transformation is liberating, it's also disorienting. Because with every layer that peels away, something sacred is revealed. A stillness, a clarity, a force that was always there but long forgotten beneath the noise. You begin to see with new eyes. Patterns that once trapped you now appear transparent. People you once clung to now seem distant, their energy no longer matching yours. And it's not because you're better. It's because you're vibrating on a different frequency, one that demands truth, alignment, and presence. This shift is subtle at first. You might wake up feeling heavy, without knowing why. You might crave solitude, silence, and simplicity. You'll notice your body resisting old routines. Foods that once comforted now feel dense. Entertainment that once distracted now seems hollow. Your system is becoming more refined. It's no longer tolerating what numbs. It's craving what activates, what heals, what restores. And you'll feel this shift most in your relationships. The masked people will become unbearable to witness. Conversations that once felt safe will now feel shallow. You'll speak truth without flinching, even when your voice shakes. You'll walk away without guilt, even when others beg you to stay, because you are no longer willing to sacrifice your peace for temporary comfort. You're no longer shrinking to fit where you've outgrown. You are becoming the most honest version of yourself, even if that honesty costs you approval. But something remarkable happens when you cross that line. Your world begins to align with your energy. New connections emerge. People who speak your language, who honor your depth, who celebrate your weirdness. You begin to feel less alone, not because the world changed, but because you stepped into the timeline where your soul tribe exists. They were always there. You just had to reach the frequency where they could find you. And here's the secret. The more authentic you become, the more magnetic your energy grows. The universe isn't drawn to performance. It's drawn to presence, to integrity, to truth. When you strip away the conditioning, the pretending, the proving, you become a vessel for something sacred to move through you. You stop chasing purpose and start embodying it. You stop asking for permission and start remembering that you never needed it in the first place. Still, the path is not without challenge. Growth is uncomfortable. Letting go hurts. But pain is not the enemy. It's the doorway. Every release creates space. Every goodbye opens a gate. And through that gate, a higher version of you begins to emerge. Not a perfect version, but a truer one. One that remembers why you came. One that doesn't flinch in the face of truth. One that no longer fears the unknown, because you've come to realize the unknown is where your destiny waits. And as you walk this new path, you'll begin to see signs, more frequent, more vivid, numbers, symbols, messages, and dreams. You'll feel your intuition sharpen like a blade, guiding you without logic, yet with certainty. You'll know things before they happen. You'll feel shifts in people before they speak. This isn't imagination, it's activation. It's the return of the gifts you carry before this life. Gifts buried by trauma, conditioning, and fear. But now, those gifts are returning. Because now you are ready. You're no longer asking, why me? You're declaring, of course me. Because it was always meant to be you. You were chosen not to impress the world, but to help awaken it. Not to gain validation, but to bring vibration. Not to follow, but to initiate. And while only 1% may feel this shift, you are part of that 1% for a reason. You're not waiting for the future anymore. You're stepping into it. As the shift continues, something profound starts to happen. Not in the world around you, but in how you perceive it. What once felt fixed and absolute begins to feel flexible, fluid, almost dreamlike. Time bends. Reality feels layered. You sense that behind every moment is another, more sacred version of it. Conversations feel multidimensional. A glance carries a message. A silence feels like a download. You're no longer merely existing. You're navigating multiple realms of awareness at once. It may feel surreal, even disorienting. But this is what happens when the veil begins to thin. The ordinary begins to shimmer with the extraordinary. You feel energy in rooms, in people, in music. You start to sense when something is in alignment, even before it manifests. There's a quiet confidence growing within you now, a voice that says, you don't have to understand it all. You just have to feel it. Trust it. Because your intuition is no longer a whisper. It is becoming your primary language. And the more you listen, the louder it gets. But that shift, that elevation, will challenge the foundations you once built your life on. Your goals may suddenly feel empty. The dreams you chased might lose their flavor. The ambitions that once fueled you now feel like distractions. That's not failure. That's clarity. Your soul is refining your direction. It's no longer content with chasing shadows when it remembers the sun. You are not here to play small games for temporary trophies. You are here to transform realities. And transformation, by nature, demands endings. It asks you to shed identities, roles, labels, masks. It will often ask you to walk away from comfort, from the familiar, from what others say is enough. Because you are not built to settle. The fire within you will not be satisfied by half-truths and hollow victories. It will only be fed by alignment, by meaning, by destiny. You're beginning to see that what you once called loss was actually redirection, that the heartbreak wasn't breaking you. It was cracking the shell of who you weren't, to reveal who you are, that the isolation wasn't abandonment, it was preparation. And those delays, they were divine pauses, because what's coming requires a version of you that cannot be rushed. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. And now, you're stepping into a phase where manifestation accelerates, where your thoughts ripple faster, where your energy draws in exactly what you are. And this is where discernment becomes vital, because what you call in is no longer based on effort. It's based on frequency. You will attract not what you want, but what you are. That's why you've been clearing, healing, remembering, because the more authentic you become, the more precise your reality becomes. This is where power returns, but not the old, distorted kind. Not power over others, not power rooted in ego, but sacred power, inner authority. The kind of power that walks into a room and needs no announcement. The kind that bends reality without forcing it. The kind that remembers it never needed to dominate, only to radiate. And as you radiate, others will feel it. Some will be drawn to you. Others will resist you. You'll notice more projection, more misunderstanding, more emotional intensity around your presence. But don't take it personally. Your frequency is awakening dormant codes in others. Not everyone is ready for that, but some will be, and they will find you, and together you'll remember even more, because this is a collective shift. Though only 1% may feel it now, that 1% is a seed, the ignition point, the quiet storm that will ripple into the collective. You're not here to convince anyone. You're here to embody what's possible, to be the mirror, to be the message, and slowly but surely, the world will follow. The shift is no longer coming. It's here, and those who were meant to feel it already do. You don't need to wait for the world to catch up. You've been prepared for this, lifetime after lifetime. Every experience you've had, every wound you've endured, every awakening you fought to hold on to, it's all been leading here. And now, your soul stands at a threshold. This isn't just a moment of reflection. It's a sacred turning point. You are being asked to embody what you remembered, to stop seeking and start being, to move from knowing into becoming. No more delaying your purpose. No more questioning your light. You've been an echo of what's coming. Now you are the voice. Others may still doubt, still sleep, still cling to old systems. That's okay. They're on their own timeline. But you, chosen one, are on a different mission. You came here to hold the light when it's dim, to speak truth when it's inconvenient, to keep going when others retreat, not because you're stronger, but because your soul made a vow long ago, a vow to return when the world would need remembering. And the world is remembering now. You felt the inner shifts, those sacred tremors that shake loose all that no longer serves. You watched the old you dissolve in the fire of truth. And now, from those ashes, something new is rising, something undeniable, something unstoppable. You've been tempered, refined, reborn, not as a copy of who you once were, but as the purest version of who you've always been beneath the noise. So what now? Now you choose. You choose to walk boldly, to speak freely, to live unapologetically aligned with what your soul knows to be true. You choose to shine without shrinking, to love without fear, to create without needing permission. You no longer need validation. You are your own confirmation. You no longer seek the map. You are the compass. The storm that's coming isn't here to destroy. It's here to cleanse, to clear the illusions, to shake the sleepers, to awaken the world. And you're the lighthouse in that storm, the signal fire, the anchor of remembrance. The world won't always understand you, but it will feel you. And in that feeling, healing begins. Let them call you intense. Let them call you strange. Let them call you too much. Just smile, because deep down they know only 1% can handle what's coming. And you are that 1%. You are the shift. You are the change. You are the living proof that something greater is awakening within the collective. And as this chapter ends, a new one begins. One where you no longer just witness miracles. You become one. One where you no longer wait for the signs. You are the sign. One where you no longer fear the unknown. You walk into it with divine certainty. There's no turning back now. The illusions that once held you captive no longer have power. The stories that kept you small no longer apply. The veil has lifted, and your true sight has returned. This final chapter isn't an ending. It's the activation of everything you've been called to be. Your voice is needed. Your light is required. Your essence is no longer a secret hidden from the world. It's a guiding flame. And this world, more than ever, needs flames that refuse to flicker under the pressure of fear. It needs souls who refuse to trade their truth for comfort. It needs those who walk into the fire not to be burned, but to bring light. You've come too far to play small now. You've shed too many skins, broken too many chains, walked away from too many false versions of yourself to look back. This is sacred territory. This is the emergence. You never came here to wait for permission. You never came to be quiet or invisible. You came to ignite the codes buried deep within the human experience. You came to unlock the gates of consciousness, not just for yourself, but for all who are ready to follow the sound of their own awakening. This path will not always be easy. The shift has never been about ease. It's been about alignment, and alignment demands honesty. It demands that you release what is no longer yours to carry, that you leave behind the echoes of a version of yourself that was never meant to last. It asks for your courage, not your perfection. Your heart, not your certainty. You will lose people along the way. You will outgrow entire chapters of your life. And sometimes it will ache, but even in the ache, there is purpose. Every goodbye carves space for a deeper hello. Every ending opens a portal for the next becoming. You've felt it. You've heard the call. And now it's your time to rise, not in fear, but in divine remembrance. The storm ahead isn't your end. It's your proving ground. Only 1% will understand. But you were never meant to be like the rest. You are the shift, and you are ready.